How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
I just got back from a football tournament, and
How was that?
it was good. Dallas is playing on this new team now, and it's a select team, so it's more competitive for sure. Went 1-1 today, so got eliminated, but the experience,
It's good to win. It's good to lose.
Dude, can't win them all, man.
Can't win them all.
Ask Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You gotta learn how to lose.
Yeah, and through the experience, you know what he really learned today, though? Is that we're not just on YouTube. You could find us on wherever podcasts are found, really. Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and, of course, YouTube. And we ask everybody, if you like our content, even a little bit, give us a like, subscribe, comment. Makes it a lot funner, right, Will?
Definitely. I mean, even
Social
dislike,
media?
honestly. If you don't like us, dislike us, because that actually helps us. So,
Yeah, but tell us why.
yeah, if you dislike it, hit the button and also comment. Tell us. But yeah, we're
For
on
sure.
Instagram at Story of the Fight, on Twitter, super active on Twitter at Story of the Fight, and then we have a community chat on Facebook.
Yeah,
That's
and I
called-
changed the name. I figured it
Ooh.
out. It's now Story of the Fight Chat.
Story of the Fight chat. Oh, it's perfect.
Right?
Concise.
Dude, it's just so much easier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
concise.
I figured
Straight to the
it
point.
out. And really, it wasn't that hard. I just, actually tried.
You just have to hit 3 dots or something, and then hit rename, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah, but we did it. We talked.
we made it.
Also, if you want to check out last episode, we talked about the Canelo incident when he broke Billy Joe Saunders' face in multiple pieces. And Michelle Watterson, and of course, I think it was just all UFC Vegas 226.
26. Yeah.
26.
Go back. We have
One-
interviews too. We have interviews with
fun
fighters
interviews.
like Bruce Leroy and Frank Camacho and all them. So go back, check those out.
I did want to give a couple shout outs here, Will, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So on the episode with Yuri Prohaska, we got some serious comments on there. Again, whenever anybody comments, we try to interact as much as possible. Jan Shokor, sorry if I butcher some of these names, who let us know that Yuri is taking English classes right now, because we talked about how that might be one of the only things holding him back from really having stardom. Right?
Stardom. Yeah. Even though I did say it was improving.
Yes. So thank you, Jan. Martina Serna, she said, happy to hear someone already knew how good Yuri is in Ryzen, and they love his style of fighting in the Czech Republic.
Hell yeah. They love it everywhere.
Everywhere. Vidislav Zvatan. I hope I got that
Ooh.
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He let us know that Yuri was out after the upkick for a quick second, because we talked about that as well, how it seemed like after that upkick, he just collapsed on Reyes' body.
Yeah.
He confirmed that
Dead
Yuri
man's pass.
confirmed. So thank you, Viteslav. Dude, I'm getting better with these pronunciations. I've been practicing. Theo Teddy, greetings from Czech Republic. He enjoys that we enjoy that everyone in the Czech Republic already knew what would happen. So he was
Same.
no secret.
We were on the same
Right?
page.
Zodiac Love Team. I don't think that's their real name, not their government
First name, last name.
Talked about Yuri's mindset, and he said that he got to watch him defeat King Mo 2 years ago in Yokohama. That must have been
That was a rematch too.
that
King
must
Mo
have been
beat him
legit.
the first time.
Damasek 219 asked, "Did anyone else see Reyes winning this fight?" Later on, he replied with, "Me neither," because nobody replied. But special shout out to Piotr Milota, who helped get the pronunciation correct for Idri Prohaska. Idri Prohaska. Yes. So he sent me the link, and the link is like the Czech Republic version of Hot Ones, where they had Idri Prohaska on there.
Idri.
And Idri Prohaska.
Huh.
And very interesting.
Good
And
to
I
know.
tried to watch as much as I could, and I was like, huh.
Haha.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly. But man, that was so much fun just interacting with everybody. So thank you to all the folks I just mentioned. Special shout out
Shout
to
out
y'all.
to the Czech Republic.
Shout out to the Czech Republic. We love y'all. Make sure you like, subscribe.
Yeah.
All right. Moment of silence.
Moment of silence for UFC 262. Matt Schnell was supposed to fight Alex Perez, which would have been a fun fight. Ended up being a decent fight anyways. Christos Giagos was supposed to fight Joel Alvarez. Alvarez had like visa issues, couldn't get in. Jack Hermanson versus Edmund Shabazian would have been really cool. I think Jack Hermanson tested positive for COVID, so they rescheduled it. It would have been that's a fight that I think this card was kind of missing, if I'm being honest, like overall, you know.
Yep.
Damir Ismagulov,
Ooh.
I think, versus Rafael Alves got rescheduled. I'm not sure what happened. And then the big one, obviously, Leon Edwards versus your boy Nate Diaz had to get rescheduled. Diaz had some kind of an injury. They haven't said what it is. Must have been somewhat minor. I don't know, but they're rescheduled for 263, so that fight's still happening.
What I love about Nate Diaz is when he announced this fight, he put down your boy's headlining.
Yeah.
UFC 262.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really think he is, but in his
He
head,
got 5 rounds.
In his head, for sure.
Yeah.
Why not? But even without those mentioned fights, still a fun card.
Yeah. The prelims were really good.
Yeah, thank you, BT Sports. Came through.
Shout out BT Sports. Great coverage.
Shout out. Yes. And
have you noticed the commercials are way better too?
Yeah.
They're not trying to sell you pills is the biggest thing I realize is there's like zero like this medicine. You have Crohn's disease. This and like you know what I mean? Like every commercial break in America is medicine or like something, whereas in the UK it's just like gambling and football and
everything we really
and
love.
A vacuum cleaner. Just like random shit.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oliveira versus Chandler. Now, for anybody that didn't have an opportunity to watch our episode, we went through and made predictions for who was going to finish the year with the belt. Go back. It was in January. And Will, your boy over here.
Yeah.
2 things that I talked about on that. 1, I called out the fact that if Chandler beat Hooker in fantastic fashion, that he'd probably be catapulted to the title shot. And he was.
Yep.
Then I predicted Oliveira would be holding the belt by the end of the year. Call me Nostradamus.
I mean, yeah, that's a good pick, Oliveira is someone who probably deserved respect for a long time,
Yep. But don't check the rest of my predictions because
he broke the record for most UFC fights to get to a title fight with this one.
Wow.
28.
And he has the record for the most finishes now? Overall finishes?
17, I think, yeah.
And then most submissions. And, I mean, dude, he's been doing this for a very long time.
I believe I'm not sure what the numbers are, but he's got to be close to the record for most, like, performance of the night bonuses. He's got to be close. Who has that
record, yeah.
I think Nate had it for at least a while. I'm not sure who has it now.
Well, dude, it was a fantastic fight, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what more could you pack into it, Like
in 2 rounds.
Yeah, man. I mean, for the amount of time they fought, 5 minutes and 19 seconds total, it was enough for like 3 fights. Enough back and forth, enough changes, the tides being turned. Like, that first round was fucking wild. It was a wild first round.
Chandler has some serious power, man, in those hands.
He really does.
Serious power. Because even before he knocked Oliveira down,
that first jab that he landed?
Yeah, Oliveira was feeling it. He was feeling it. Like, he was like, oh, shit. But goddamn, he's just a monster.
Yeah, dude. And one of the biggest things that, like, early on in Oliveira's career, one of the biggest like negatives that you could say or like point out is that he didn't really deal with adversity very well. Like if you had a tide turning moment, chances are that's the rest of the fight, But this one, not at all. I mean, I'm so glad. I thought they were going to call it in the first round.
It was close.
When he was in like turtle position, kind of dodging.
Yep.
It reminded me of Nick Diaz versus Paul Daly in Strikeforce when Nick gets dropped and he's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then he rolls over to pull guard. And then Chandler was landing every once in a while. He was landing a big shot on top, right? After he dropped him. I was like, fuck, do not stop this. This is a championship fight. Do not stop it. Like, unless he goes out cold, you're not stopping it in this situation. And thank God they didn't.
I think it was a good job by Oliveira to show that he was still in it, because I think if he would have stayed in the turtle position another 5-10 seconds, honestly, it would have been stopped.
Probably, yeah. He was moving just at the right times, right?
Yeah,
but
him pulling into guard, and I think you could see he wasn't out of it. Like, just looking into his eyes, you could see, okay, he's still in this. He's still coherent. He's still defending himself intelligently.
Because there's worse knockdowns. Right, like it was a knockdown, but it wasn't like he was out for a second, and when he hit the ground, he came back. Like, he went down, but it was kind of like the slinky going down, and then kind of like right back to consciousness, like I don't think he really like fully went out from it. But excellent recovery, and props to Chandler for when he got in on the guillotine. Because he tags Oliveira hard with that shot, cuts him on his eyebrow. Oliveira times a beautiful takedown, turns the corner, gets it. Chandler gets the guillotine pretty deep. And I was like, there's no way Oliveira's going to sub to this right now. Like, there's absolutely no way he's going to tap to a guillotine right now. Like, he's going out, if anything. Gets out of it, ends up taking his back, gets the body triangle, locks the leg with the body triangle. I don't know how Chandler got out of that, to be honest. That was very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very explosive.
It seemed like he was just waiting to time it at the perfect time, because he was defending very well, man.
Mm-hmm. Against someone who's very hard to defend.
He is the record holder for the most submissions in the UFC. He gives him his back, gives up his back, and dude, just seriously, like, his explosiveness when he was able to turn into it. Yeah. It was super impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. He escapes, ends up on top. They get back to standing. He clocks him, drops him. And then there was one follow-up shot. Chandler's really, really good with the follow-up shots, because it was the same thing with the Hooker fight, right? Where Hooker goes down, and while he's in like that kind of turtle position, he gets hit with another like big one. Like, he's in that situation, or in that like dynamic where there's someone kind of on their knees, kind of like trying to get up, right? Chandler is standing over them and still hits him with like a crazy hook from the standing position, which most people, I feel like anytime that happens, you see them like whiff heavy, right? And then like just like end up on top because of the momentum of the punch. But he's really good in that position. He's scary to have standing over you, I think.
He's a solid finisher, man.
He's a solid finisher.
A lot of other folks would have been done. Yeah. Right then and there. The other thing, you mentioned the guillotine, and I thought that was just a veteran move from Chandler as well, where you probably see a few other fighters try to adjust and just squeeze as hard as they can and just gas their arms out. I think he also realized, like, dude, he's not going to tap from this, and I don't have the type of positioning to put him out. So he let it go.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even having Oliveira on top is scary.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the ground with him at all, anywhere. You just don't.
Exactly.
So. And that's why Chandler spent so much time standing above him, right? Because he didn't want to get in there. Yeah. He got in there when there was 45 seconds left of the fight, from what I remember at least. So much happened in that fight that it's kind of a blur. But they go back in between rounds, and I'm like just trying to like get a read on Oliveira, and like you said, like he seemed fully recovered. And then, 20 seconds into the second round. I actually, on my pick on like the verdict app, I had Oliveira by submission second round. Did not expect a knockout second round.
Yeah.
That was not on the list for me.
What was it? It was a left hook.
Yeah, he's a sneaky little left, like kind of almost like a shovel hook, a little bit.
Really tight.
He timed it
really tight
for the counter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we talk about follow-up shots. while Chandler was moving against the cage.
Yeah.
And the perfect sidesteps with the big left hook follow-up shot that then put Chandler down.
Yeah.
And I thought Dan Miragliotta did a fantastic job last night.
It was great reffing. Yeah, great reffing for that fight.
It was spot on.
Yeah.
Because, again, same thing with Oliveira. When Oliveira was struggling, I was like, oh, dude, please don't stop the fight right now because he's still good. He's still in it.
Yeah.
And then with the Chandler, when Chandler got dropped and you didn't see much coming out of that and you saw some clean shots from Oliveira straight to his temple, I was like, okay, this would be a good time to stop it.
He would get hit and his hands would like go to the mat. Like he's holding himself up and he's just kind of like getting like hit hard and it's like kind of looking straight down. And it's like, okay, he's not coming back from this. Like, let's call it now, you know?
Yeah. And this isn't the end for Chandler by any means.
No.
Dude, he showed he's an elite fighter in the UFC. And Oliveira, man, so happy for Oliveira. The way he celebrated, genuine excitement, genuine just like happiness. You know, he hops over the fence, you know, talks to Rogan and the boys.
Just laying down face to face to Rogan.
Yeah.
Dude.
And then hugs Dana, gets blood on Dana's face.
Yeah. Top 5 like championship win celebrations for sure, you know. And then
runs into the crowd.
Yeah, after he talks to Dana, the security team's like trying to get him. He just like pushes him away and starts doing that like sidestep across the whole like outer like the floor level seats, you know.
Yeah.
And then like hops that and like hugs like 3 people, and then he comes over and he's like just so happy, man. So happy for him. And then when he gets the belt, he like does the same like sidestep like run around the cage.
Like high knees, you know.
Yeah,
dude, it was just I was super happy for him.
Yeah, completely
so
super
funny.
infectious.
So funny how, as a fan, you just have so much invested in fighters after you've watched them for years and years and years.
Dude,
and you see their
fights in the UFC.
Crazy. And you see their development.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking with Oliveira, get to him early and you're good because he was a slow starter.
Yeah.
And also, if it goes into the 3rd round, depending on how the fight was, a lot of times Oliveira would gas out too. And we've seen now that Oliveira has improved with his cardio as well. So again, I think that all these things you see.
Yeah, I think that goes with also him moving up to 155, right? Because originally he was at 145, and he probably sapped a lot of energy getting down there, you know? And he's not the biggest 155er, but, I mean, when you get the skills and you're big enough, it doesn't really matter, you know? Yeah, so happy for him. And do you know the story about him as a kid?
Please share.
Dude, when he was 9 years old, he had to go to the hospital because he had heart murmurs, and he also had I want to say like a type of arthritis in like his ankles. And they told him like, hey, like you might not be able to walk like you're in your life. And
wow.
And I guess he wanted to be a soccer player, so obviously that was like a huge bummer for him. Spent 2 years in the hospital when he was 9 years old. 2 years living in a hospital room from 9 to 11. Barely got to see his parents. Basically just lived alone in the hospital as like a little kid, you know?
That's insane.
And like not
Look
like
at
a
him
little
now.
kid, but like a kid old enough to like need people around, you know? Like 9 through 11, dude, you got to be playing with like your friends and stuff and like all that shit. And like he doesn't even get to see his family. He's just stuck in a hospital room for 2 years.
And instead you're trying to figure out whether you're going to be able to walk.
Yeah, like
fuck.
And now he's the champ, you know?
Good for him. Dude, see that's and then the fact that he's always calling out the favela.
Yeah.
Which is, you know,
it's fucking awesome.
It's a low income settlement for anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah.
In Brazil. And I mean, this is where he's from, man. Humble beginnings with this guy. Mm-hmm. And after his last victory, I don't know if you saw it, but there's footage of him going out and handing out food and clothing and stuff like that in the favelas. And the thing that I like about that, too, it wasn't posted by Oliveira. It wasn't Oliveira that was going around recording himself and saying, hey, look at me and look what I'm doing and I'm giving back to the community. It was people within the favelas that were posting some of the footage of Oliveira going in there and giving back to the community. Yeah, that tried to take care of him when he was little too. You know,
yeah, it's
fantastic
awesome,
story.
Man. That's a
fantastic
champion right there.
Story.
You know,
so happy for him. Now, do we go winner from Poirier McGregor.
That's what I would do. Winner of that fight. It happened soon. Only like 2 months apart from this fight. So,
I mean, you have to, right? Because you got Poirier right now. It's currently ranked number 1. McGregor that's fighting the number 1 ranked.
I saw people who were like, if Conor beats Dustin, he doesn't deserve a title shot. He still only has a win over Cowboy, and then Dustin, that wouldn't be enough. Like, dude, if you beat number 1, you just beat number 1, you get a title shot. And let's be honest, Conor's going to get a title shot if he wins that fight.
That's the thing with rankings too, though. Is usually if you beat somebody that's ranked, let's say 5th, and you're 8th, that usually moves you into 5th or 4th, depending on the performance.
Unless
so that's
Chandler,
usually how rankings work. Unless you're Chandler, then you just... Dana White, that was one of the best lines.
I know, dude. That's so good.
Dana White's reaction, man. Dana White's reaction. But, yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that would make sense, I guess. Poirier versus McGregor winner gets Oliveira.
Yeah, and you do what you should have done, and you do Gaethje versus Chandler. Oliveira versus the winner of Conor Dustin. Gaethje versus Chandler. That puts, and like Chandler said, dude, I saw people also kind of clowning him a little bit by saying like, I'm gonna get the belt again in within 12 months, or I'm gonna get the belt within 12 months, not again, but. And everyone's like, dude, he's 35. Like, this is probably his last chance. It's like, what? What narrative is that? Like, what the fuck, dude?
Oh man, the Reddit voice came out.
This is his last chance. Get the fuck out of here, dude. The guy just fought for the belt in his second UFC fight.
Anything else on that fight, Will? Because this next fight kind of ties into the conversation we're having right now.
Yeah. No, not really. Just so happy for Oliveira. Charlie Olives.
With Beneil Dariush and Tony Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Dariush has been on a rampage.
Yeah, he has.
And so I'm taking a look at the rankings, and you have like a Dan Hooker, you have a Rafael Dos Anjos, who has also been seeing a resurgence as of late. Mm-hmm. But nobody wanting to take him up on any of the fights. Like, he keeps on calling people on social media. Except, very true. Nobody wants any.
There's a reason RDA is not fighting right now, because the only person who's willing is fucking Makhachev.
And he's like, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Someone else will come.
But, man, Mike Beltran, another fantastic ref.
Yeah. Could have ref this one a little bit better, in my opinion.
How so?
I think in the third round, when they were in that position in north-south with Tony's feet up against the cage, probably could have stood him up there,
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. He gave him maybe a couple warnings. I think if you give someone a couple warnings and they still aren't either trying to pass, and I'm not blaming Dariush. That's a position where the wrong movement, Tony can explode off the fence. You have to be very careful there. So I'm not blaming him whatsoever. But as a ref, I feel like you probably stand him up from that position.
I was thinking the same thing, except on my end, I feel like anytime that he would warn him, Dariush would then try to get in a position for like a north-south choke, or so I don't know. Like it's tricky at that point because hey, give me some action, guys. I want to see some action, and then boom, he starts like getting into a better position, or like I said, trying to sneak in a north-south choke, and then what do you do at that point? And then they go into no activity again. It's tough. But so a couple things on this fight. One, Houston absolutely loves Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Houston was a big Tony Ferguson city. Maybe it's the Hispanic population in Houston. I'm not sure, but I mean, he comes out with this breakdancing music. Houston's going nuts.
With Freddie Roach
I was looking forward to this fight. Because I love Beneil Dariush. Mm-hmm. It's always fun watching Tony Ferguson fight. Is it
always? It was always.
That's true. I guess that's some legacy thinking, right?
Yeah.
Because his last 2 fights haven't been very exciting.
Last 3, really. I mean, the Gaethje fight was an exciting fight, but
not fun.
Not fun.
Exciting, but it was exciting.
It's true. For the wrong
don't
reasons.
forget, Tony started off with that uppercut on Gaethje in the first round that dropped Gaethje. And
That's
then
true.
in the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth round, it was all Gaethje. But again, it was an exciting fight, right? Ferguson would always put on exciting matches. Then after that, you see him get absolutely manhandled by Charles Oliveira.
By the current champ. Doesn't look as bad now, right?
Not at all. And then Beneil Dariush.
Now it starts to...
But still, again, Dariush has been on a rampage.
No, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dariush is really good. You know, he's a tough guy, really good. But it does not... I mean, if you look at the past, like, you look at Tony Ferguson's resume, he shouldn't, based off his peak, right, at least, he doesn't lose to someone like Beneil Dariush. And I mean that with zero disrespect. Tony at his peak was, in my opinion, a champion. I think he's one of the guys that, he's one of them. Jacare is one of them. There's a few guys that I think the UFC just really, really did dirty by not giving them the right opportunities when they deserved them. And I think Tony's one of maybe the worst examples of it.
He didn't have that Dana White privilege.
He didn't have the Dana White privilege. Yeah, I mean, so it sucks to see that, and it sucks. And DC mentioned it. The conversation starts to lean more about the guy losing rather than the guy winning, right?
Yep.
And it seems like this might be the path of like Tyron Woodley, where like Colby thinks that he's gonna sit and get a title shot off of beating Tyron Woodley, even though Kamaru beat him right before. Kamaru beat him, Gilbert Burns beat him, then Colby beat him, then Luque beat him. So like, it's not like he fought peak Tyron Woodley. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where we might be seeing Tony Ferguson at now that it's 3 in a row. Granted, it's Justin Gaethje, and then the current champ in Oliveira, and now Dariush. But I do think Dariush is a step below Tony's resume, you know? And
maybe.
And I mean that with zero disrespect. I mean, I really like Dariush. He's been, especially this past couple of years, he's been so good. But he's fighting not the people that Tony was fighting. You know what I mean? Tony had like a 12-fight win streak against absolute 12-fight win streak. Absolute killers.
Here, let's call it out real quick. So Donald Cerrone.
Yeah.
Anthony Pettis.
Yeah.
Kevin Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Rafael Dos Anjos.
Yeah.
Lando Vannata. Edson Barboza. Josh Thompson. Gleason Tebow. Abel Trujillo. Danny Castillo. Katsuroni Kikuno. And Mike Rio. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, man, because I feel like Dariush is peaking.
Yeah.
I think Dariush is in his prime right now.
I think so too.
And I'm gonna go on a limb right now and say that Ferguson faced a Cerrone that wasn't in his prime anymore.
Correct.
Ferguson faced a Pettis that wasn't in his prime anymore.
Yeah.
Ferguson faced a Kevin Lee who we don't know if Kevin Lee's ever gonna live up to his potential.
Yeah.
Rafael Dos Anjos.
But how much of that is because he fought Tony Ferguson?
Who? Kevin Lee?
Yeah, because up until that point, Kevin Lee looked like a real problem for a lot of people.
A world beater. He looked like a world beater.
And Tony just... And I think that was for the interim belt, correct?
It was for the interim belt.
Yeah.
And that was off Kevin Lee coming off of, what's it called?
Staph.
Staph.
Correct.
Staph infection. Rafael Dos Anjos, post-championship Rafael Dos Anjos, of course.
Yeah, but let's be real.
He's still a monster, I know.
Yeah.
Lando Vannata, who I would put down 2 or 3 notches from Beneil Dariush right now.
Yeah.
And
short notice fight, though. It wasn't supposed to be him.
You know, so as I'm going down through the list, we could also say that it wasn't until he started facing the Justin Gaethjes, the peak Charles Oliveira's.
Yeah, but I think that's more revisionist, you know? Let's not forget, RDA when he fought Tony was one fight removed from the belt. Was still a killer. And during the time that Tony was having these fights, everybody was like in awe of what was happening. You know, the win streak was crazy at the time because it's easier to look back on it and say, yeah, maybe past their prime, that kind of stuff. But in the moment, he was taking people's souls, you know, violently. Yeah. Like, it's not like it was just like he was beating these guys. I mean, up until that Gaethje fight, you looked at like his last 9 wins and you look at the opponents during the fight, they looked like they got through like a bear attack. You know what I mean? Like,
yep,
faces hanging off their skulls, you know?
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is just take a look at like Anthony Pettis. And it wasn't just the opponents that were taking the damage. Ferguson would come out of these fights
taking damage too, yeah.
Beat up as well, and it's probably just taking a toll on him. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want to downplay Beneil Dariush and what he's been doing as of late either. You know, because
true.
I think that he's somebody that can make a legitimate run at for the title.
Yeah, I think so too. And the division's at the point right now where like it's the perfect time for him to be coming into his prime. You know, a new champion, the dominant champion is gone. There's very real potential this belt kind of hops around for the next year or two. You know,
let's wait until the end of the year, Charles Oliveira, because I did predict you would finish the year
just
holding that belt. So yeah, let's just hold. Anything else on that fight? Dude, the one thing I did want to call out though is Tony Ferguson. I know that it seemed like Dariush was just smothering with his top game. But the butterfly guard from Ferguson is beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Going from mission control to butterfly guard.
If he wasn't up against the cage, he would have won that fight with a Darce choke. If he didn't, if it wasn't up against the cage, he had it. He had the Darce, he just couldn't move to the right position. But he had the choke, you know? I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? You could also say Dariush should have got a second-round sub in that when he tore apart Tony Ferguson's knee with the heel hook. I was watching it with my buddy Ruben. And
how disgusting was that?
Dude, he got it, and I was like, he's not going to tap. He's not going to tap. And Ruben's like, nah, dude, you gotta. And I was like, he's not going to, though. Like, the guy's fucking crazy. Like, he's fucking crazy. And he didn't tap. It was
nuts.
Yeah.
And you're right, like, because I thought the same thing because it was deep. It was deep. And I was like, oh, shit, man. But it's Tony Ferguson, so we'll see him limping around in the next round, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
And sure enough, like, he seemed fine when he was walking to his corner. But then when he was trying, you know, to circle around Dariush, you could see that there wasn't as much step in a step anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, a lot of joint submissions like Kimuras and arm bars and stuff like that, you can grimace in pain from it, tap, and then still be okay. Not really the case with like knee bars and heel hooks and stuff like that. If it gets to the point where you're grimacing in pain, it's over. Your knee's shot. So the fact that he grimaced in pain twice and then got out of it, you know that. And Dariush, I think, said he felt and heard a pop. So
said it was a loud pop.
Yeah, probably some damage there.
A lot Tony's of just fucking popping.
Yeah, Tony's just fucking crazy, man.
Well,
you know, it's one thing to like
I wish
claim that and
Tony Ferguson the best.
Yeah, me too. And I'm honestly kind of worried about the rest of his life, if I'm being honest.
Me too.
Not just his career, you know.
I think that he could be one of the ones that goes down the Diego Sanchez path.
I think it's darker. I think he gets darker than that.
Oh, don't say that.
He's already had that moment in his life with thinking there's cameras and recording equipment in his walls, in his leg, pouring holy water on his wife while she's sleeping because he thinks she's evil or something, and then hops out of the car in the freeway because they're going to the hospital, and just runs off into a field. Like,
man.
And since then has taken massive head trauma from Gaethje. That was before that fight. So, like, that doesn't help. I hope, and this is crazy to say, but I hope he got in like a meth binge or something during all that. And it was just like drug related, and like he got out of that, you know, got sober maybe, and like we're good now.
That's a good point. Because in this press conference, I was listening to it thinking like, okay, let's see what crazy outlandish stuff Tony says this time. But I feel like he was better in this press conference than some of the previous.
Yeah.
Before all the damage taken by Gaethje.
Yeah.
So
I'll never forget the one time where in a press conference somebody asked him and was like, hey, like, we know like you've struggled with like mental health issues in the past and like all this stuff, and like you've dealt with adversity in that front, and like you've really bounced back, and like now you're fighting for a title eliminator against Gaethje. I think it was right before the Gaethje fight. And like, can you just like speak to, you know, like what it means to like, and like how hard it was to like overcome like those mental health issues and stuff? It's really inspiring for a lot of people. And Tony's just like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. He thought he was like calling him out, right? But like, I don't know, man. I hope that was all drug related and that he can move past that, you know? And then
only time will tell now.
Yeah.
Only time will tell, my friend.
Yeah.
Before that, well, I'm going to be honest. Your boy might have fallen asleep.
Yeah.
1 minute into this fight, and I literally woke up with the breakdancing music from Tony Ferguson walking out. Like, I was in and out during that time. And I think I texted you and George, and I was like, what happened? Was this a good fight?
Yeah.
So you might have to fill us in.
It was okay.
It was okay?
So Matt Schnell versus Rogério Bontorin. And it was the first round feeling out process, right? Schnell was landing more combos. Like when he would get in, he'd start ripping to the body and stuff. It's just like, bah, 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 like super quick. But Bontorin is just like every once in a while uncorking a massive shot. And they talked about it in the commentary. Like anytime there was a big moment, it was all Rogério. It was not Schnell. And in between rounds, Schnell goes back to his corner and he says something along the lines of, they're like, you good? You okay? And he's like, yeah, this guy's fucking lulling me to sleep. He's like so inactive. And it's like, all right, dude, you got to put the pressure on then. You set the pace, because if he's lulling you to sleep because he's inactive, when he is active, he's landing his big shots. So like you need to, you know, pedal to the metal now and like.
So was this a case of more like more activity versus significant strikes?
Not really. I mean, it was not a lot of activity from either of them. It's just when there was action.
Okay.
Schnell would get in tight and land a few big shots that didn't really seem to phase Bontorin, but he did at one point land a good left hand that kind of sat him back a little bit. I think that was in the first round, maybe the second. But each big moment was all Rogério. You know, Schnell was taking big shots. In the third round, some of the worst reffing I've ever seen. Bontorin takes him over to the cage, lands like maybe a 5-6 punch combo, and not the fast, quick, like slap shots that Schnell was landing, but like heavy shots that I don't know how Schnell didn't go down, to be honest. Like he almost did at one point in the middle of the combo. And there's probably like 2 minutes left, maybe 1 minute left. In the middle of the combo, you see his mouthpiece gets dislodged a little bit. He reaches up to fix it, gets hit again.
I heard about that.
Knocks it down. It's on the mat. They end up going to the ground, where Bontorin is landing elbows, landing ground and pound. Ref, I don't think he didn't see it. They're literally on the ground. Ref standing there watching them, mouthpieces in the corner, like 2 feet away from them, and just standing there letting it go. Schnell just kind of taking a beating on the ground a little bit. Not like crazy, right? It wasn't like, it was never close to being finished with the ground and pound, but every once in a while a big shot would come through. It's like, bro, get the fucking mouth guard. What are you doing? Ends the fight without the mouthpiece in. Mouth is a little bloody. You know, seemed fine. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine he chipped at least one tooth. At least on the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Jeez. Like, he should send the ref that dentist bill.
I mean, the UFC's got it covered anyways.
True.
Anything that happens in a fight, UFC got you. But not the most exciting fight, you know? That's about it, honestly. Sucks to see it because Bontorin missed weight, I believe. I think he came in like 4 pounds over. Took the fight on short notice, though, you know? So who knows how much time he had to prepare for that weight cut, all that stuff. But you got to make weight.
Got to make weight. Man. Yeah. Well, before that, we had Araujo versus Chookagian.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Man, volume versus significant strikes. That's why I asked, was it another case of volume versus significant strikes? Because I felt like this one definitely was a case of volume of strikes versus significant strikes, and the refs gave it to volume.
Chookagian does this thing when she controls the pace of a fight, and when she's controlling how the fight's going, it looks like a sparring match. Not a lot of violent intentions going on.
Yeah.
If there are, not a lot of violent results. It's a lot of jabs. It's a lot of kia every time she throws a punch. It's a lot of stuff landing maybe a few inches away, and just throwing stuff to throw it. And it's not the most exciting to watch.
In all honesty, I blame Chookagian for my falling asleep during the Schnell fight.
Yeah.
Because this is what got me sleepy.
It's like this was the sleeping pill you took.
Yeah, yes.
It just hadn't kicked in yet.
Yes, thank you. So thank you, Chookagian. But yeah, same thing. And then I think DC probably said it best where he's like, she's a point fighter.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to knock you out. She doesn't have crazy power. She tries to use her footwork, move around the octagon, sneak some shots in. She's a point fighter, and that's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
This capped off, though, one of the worst nights for judging that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah,
we have
really
somebody
bad.
go Araujo 30-27, another one go 29-28, and then another one go 30-27 in the opposite direction. And I was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
What is going on? The local fights I went to on Friday had better judging than this. By the way, your boy was sitting front row. I was speaking to the judge. I was trying to see if we can get in his judges here pretty soon. We got some work to do, Will.
Yeah.
We got some work to do,
Yeah,
bro.
at least in California, you got to be a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. At least. That's the first minimum. Then you got to go through the reffing course. You got to be picked to be a ref professionally. Most of them don't get out of amateur.
Yeah.
Then you got to ref for a while, until the commission maybe tosses you a bone to be a judge if you want to do that. But it's a lot that goes into it.
It's a lot. Yeah, we got some work to do.
Yeah.
But at least we got a connection on the inside now.
We got two. I have the card. I think it's in my car. But I have the guy who judged Dan Henderson versus Shogun. I helped him in Best Buy way back in the day.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Can't think of his name right now.
Nice guy.
Very nice guy.
But yeah, terrible
judged
judging
that
all
fight
night.
correctly. That guy.
Yeah. So, dude, I don't really have much else on that fight. Before that, one of the strangest things that I have seen
maybe one of the scariest
since I've been watching out. Yeah. So, I can't remember the name of the girl that was weighing in, who just took a few steps back and you slowly see their eyes roll to the back of their head and collapse.
Mm-hmm.
But this was not a weigh-in. This was in the middle of a fight. It was, man, it was scary.
Yeah. Banger of a fight, though. Like, I remember in the last episode when we previewed the card briefly, I was like, normally when you say a card or a fight matchup is like guaranteed to be exciting, it usually ends up boring. And I was like, I have no fear of saying that about this fight because Shane Burgos, Edson Barboza, just, are they ever in a boring fight? Either of them? They go so hard. Even when Edson was getting a one-sided beatdown against Khabib, still an exciting fight. Shane Burgos is fucking as tough as they come, man. That guy is willing.
Maybe too tough for his own good.
Yeah, he's so willing to just fucking stand and trade. Man. And most people don't make it out of that first round. The way Edson started this fight, most people
in the
fold.
First 15 seconds,
yeah.
Burgos' leg was compromised.
Yeah. But was it, though? Because he fought through it.
Yeah, but we also got to see in this fight that Burgos has one of the best poker faces
True.
in the history of mixed martial arts.
True.
Because there was a couple leg kicks where you could see Burgos kind of want to reach down for the leg, and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna try not to show any weakness right now."
Yeah, almost saying that it wasn't compromised is kind of a disservice to Shane Burgos. You're right, because it had to have been compromised in the first 30 seconds.
Dude, those were some hard shots, and he acknowledged.
Yeah,
because after that second leg kick, he looks at him, smiles, and kind of gives him like,
"Okay,
this is how it's gonna go."
Yeah,
you know?
But he did a great job of staying composed, and I thought Barboza was going to start to run away with it just from the start of that fight. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of started bridging the gap a little bit in the second fight, or the second round, Burgos. Mm-hmm. It was much closer that round. I still probably gave it to Barboza, if I'm being honest. The second, maybe
really?
not. No. He wobbled him a few times, right? In the second
round.
I
was going to say, I had a 1-1.
Yeah, you're right. I think I had 1-1 also. What a fucking war, though, dude. And Barboza's shin bleeding all crazy from the leg kicks, and he just keeps throwing it.
Savage.
Burgos' leg is all bloody from his leg.
And I love the fact that they're like, look at Barboza's leg. It's bleeding all over the place. And then Joe Rogan's like, I think it's seriously hurt because he hasn't thrown it. Literally a second later.
Yeah.
Whap! And he's like, oh, well, never mind. There it goes.
Yeah,
and
dude. And the turning side kicks to the body. And you see the welts on the side of Burgos' stomach, dude.
Barboza has some of the scariest kicks in all of mixed martial arts. Yeah. I think we've mentioned this before.
Currently, I think he's number one. I think Mirko probably takes the cake all time, but Barboza is probably number one right now. He's
just so fast, man. So fast, whether it's to the body, whether it's a low leg kick, calf kick, whatever. It's just hard for these folks to defend. And Burgos started doing a better job in that second round.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't coming in as close. He was keeping more distance. His stance wasn't as wide. And when Barboza was coming in low, he was able to take a quick step back, and just kind of come back in after that. But he wasn't immune to him. Like, he still got caught every once in a while.
In the first round, Edson landed a flush wheel kick to the side of the head that Burgos went with and was like, all right, cool. Let's just keep going.
Maybe he went with it. Maybe it was a delayed reaction.
Yeah, he did wobble a little bit, though. But, man,
so
it was a clean wheel kick.
The thing we were talking about, though, when we say it's scary, if anybody missed it, Burgos gets caught with a right hook, right to the temple. He seemed to have just eaten it.
Yeah.
Looks up at Barboza, puts his hands up, and then all of a sudden his legs start giving out on him. His eyes kind of start going out of focus, and he bounces off the cage, falls, and to me, it seemed like he was out. It seemed like he was out because while his eyes were still open, he was not looking for Barboza.
Yeah,
he was not intelligently defending himself. Mm-hmm. Arms were down, and after Barboza gave him those two shots when he was down already, he was out. But I think he was out already bouncing off the cage.
I think so too. Yeah, because he fell back into the cage, hit the cage hard, and then bounces off. And you could see Dana in the replay from the side angle. Dana springs up, and it's not a spring up of like a holy shit, what a knockout. It was like, oh my god, like this guy's like hurt. Yeah. It was scary, man, because you see a lot of the times with body shots, someone gets ripped to the body, and they're like, okay, and then they go down. It was like that, but with a headshot, and that's super. I don't think I've ever seen it.
I've never seen that.
Yeah,
I've never seen that. So
I've seen a lot. We both have watched a lot of fights. I've never seen it. I'm sure it's happened.
Again, we're MMA degenerates. Do we watch a bunch of MMA?
Yeah.
Even if it's not the most exciting card, we end up enjoying them.
Yeah.
So we watch a lot of fights, and I can't remember a time that I saw a delayed knockout. I don't even call it a knockout. I think I texted you last night, and I said it's more like I think he just passed out.
Yeah, it was a weird. You remember we talked about it earlier too with the Oliveira fight, but Nick Diaz versus Paul Daly in Strikeforce.
Yeah.
In the clinch, Diaz. I still sometimes forget what exactly finished Paul Daly in that fight because he hits him with like a knee, maybe an uppercut in the clinch, and then all of a sudden Paul Daly's just like and just goes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a weird delayed thing in the clinch. But it's kind of like it's a scrappy, dirty fight, so it's really hard to see what exactly happens in that fight. But This one was so clear, you know. They were at distance,
Yeah.
one big shot, standing there fine, fighting, and then all of a sudden, and like his feet are out from under him kind of, and he's stumbling backwards. Scary, man. He said he's fine now.
To me, the scariest thing though was the look on his face afterwards.
When they're talking, even Edson would look scared when they were talking about it after the fight.
Well, no, not even that. Like when his body started shutting down.
Oh yeah,
Because
he looks so
like I said,
scared.
Yes, that's what was scary for me, because man, he takes the shot, his hands go right back up.
Yeah, he's like,
and
ready.
you can see that he's telling his body like step forward.
Yeah,
and his body's like, nah,
and his
we
eyes
can't do this
shift
anymore.
inside.
Yes, but you see the like look of like what's going on, the fear,
Yeah.
and then boom, eyes off to the side, falls back down to the ground, face down. One of the scariest moments, but I'm glad he's okay. Because even afterwards, like he was like, "What happened?"
He's like, "What the fuck was that?" And even Edson was like, "Dude, like you could see that they were talking about it."
He was explaining it to him.
Yeah, but he was also confused. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't know." Like, you start going down, like you could see that they were both kind of like puzzled by what just happened. And Burgos said in an interview after that he remembers it all completely. That all of a sudden his legs just like stopped working, and he couldn't control his body. And it's like,
what does that do to somebody mentally, man?
Yeah,
that
especially
must be
someone
so
who
stressful.
Fucking goes out on their shield in his fights. You know, really, really puts his chin on the line to land his shots.
Do you go into the fights now like just thinking about that and hoping like, man, I just don't want my legs to go out on me again?
Yeah.
Maybe I can't fight the way I was fighting before, because maybe that triggered that. Like, I can't imagine.
I mean, he's had not a very long career in the UFC so far, but he's been in some fucking bangers. Some very hard fights. His fight with Calvin Kattar, this one, the one with Josh Emmett, the Amir Khani one was rough too. Like, he goes out there and goes toe-to-toe with people, man. He's a very exciting fighter, but...
I was going to say, that's why a lot of people love watching a fight. I think Michael Chandler, during autograph signings, he was being recorded, posted on his social media. He's like, hey, we're about to go say hi to my favorite fighter on the roster right now.
Oh, really?
And he's like, hey, man, I just want to tell you I love watching your fights. And it's Shane Burgos. And he's like, oh, man, appreciate it, man. It means a lot, you know? But, like, people take notice. Like, his fights are exciting.
Yeah, he's very good. I mean...
so scary. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get a win, man. Jesus Christ.
I know. He's got
His
two losses in a row.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think it was Josh Emmett and now Barboza.
Yeah, I think... and that Emmett fight was fucking... I think his last 3 losses, Edson Barboza, Josh Emmett, Calvin Kattar. I think all 3 of them won fight of the night.
I mean, how can they not?
That's how you know that you're like taking damage.
And by the way, Charles Jourdain, he tweeted during the fight, best fight I've ever watched.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, dude. Hey, let's slow down, okay?
Probably a little tipsy, you know. Maybe he trains with one of them, you know. Trying to hype it up a little bit.
Maybe.
Hey, props to them though. They both got $75,000 for their bonus for this one.
Hey, props to Uncle Dana too. Dude, I say props because he very easily could have been like, nah. Very easily could have been like,
said
nah.
that. But they used to give bigger bonuses back in the day, and they said, we need to just standardize it. We'll do $50,000. This $75,000, adjusting for inflation.
How much were the bonuses before? They
would fluctuate. Some people used to get $100,000. UFC 124, they got $100,000.
I've heard
UFC
that story before.
Yeah, UFC 100 also got $100,000 per bonus, and that was 2009. I think was the last time they gave more than $50,000 for a bonus. $75,000 now is less than $50,000 in 2009. So that's if anything, this is just adjusting for inflation. Like, it's not even like an extra. Like, they've been getting technically, as they've stayed at $50,000, they've actually gone down because of inflation. You know, the bonuses have been getting cheaper for the UFC, even though they're sitting at the same dollar amount.
I mean, that's a good point, because I have heard stories of not Dana, what's his name, Fertitta, Lorenzo Fertitta, walk into the back with $100,000 literally check, writing it out and handing it to somebody in the locker room after a fight.
Mm-hmm.
But again, either way, Could have very
Still
easily
did it.
been like, we're keeping it at 50 grand across. And the only reason he did, I guarantee it, was this is one of the problems with the UFC is that it's very much like a boys, organization. Where if you're part of this crew or whatever, like Tony Ferguson made Dana White laugh his ass off. The way that he presented the $75,000 bonus was hilarious.
Yeah.
So I guarantee he was like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, that sounds. Let's do it. Where if somebody would have been like, "Hey Dana, can we have a meeting? I just need to present to you the fact that inflation's going on. Like all this, that. Gas is up 100 and some percent. Like, hey man, help us out." And he'd be like, "Nah, dude."
Yeah.
But because somebody made him laugh and it was kind of joking around, he's like, okay, I'm in a good mood. Let's do it.
Yeah,
it's a good old boys
and
club.
It's a bad thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fuck, man. All right, before that, Jacare Souza versus Muniz. Yeah. Dude, that was... Okay, so Dallas, for anybody who doesn't know, Dallas, my son, just turned 8. He's watching the fights with me at this point, right? And
they stopped after this one or what?
No, it's the exact opposite. Because they're in that scramble. Jacare ends up, Muniz ends up on his back, takes Jacare's arm, and I could see it pop, and you could hear it.
And you see that guy sitting there right in the front, and he's just like,
yes.
No.
But you could very clearly hear it go.
Yeah.
So Dallas is like, what happened? I was like, dude, he just broke his arm. And Jacare's sitting there with his arm straight down and goes, no, he didn't. Like, look, he's fine. And I was like, no, watch again.
Yeah,
so
you're
they
like,
show
yeah,
the
Jacare's fucking stone cold, dude.
Yeah. Let me tell you about him. He once tucked his broken arm into his belt.
And then won.
And continued. So they show the replay slow motion. I was like, right here. And you could see it snap. And he goes, oh, I saw it. And then they replay it normal speed with the sound on. And when he heard it, he's like, oh my God, did you hear that? He's telling everybody in the house what happened. He was super excited. Wanted to keep on watching the fights after that. Nice. He wanted to show everybody in the house the arm break. Yeah. I was like, dude, you are a guy's guy at 8 years old.
And how about this? Jacare didn't even tap.
Terrible
Jacare's fucking so terrifying to me, dude. So terrifying. The guy is fucking unreal, man. It sucks that he... like I said, two people that come to the top of my mind who've been fucked over by the UFC hard: Tony Ferguson and Jacare. Jacare should have been fighting for the belt. He had a second resurgence, like some of these fighters do, and instead he ends up fighting. Who did he fight where he got knocked out?
Holland?
No. It was a while ago. It might have been Whitaker. I forgot who it was, but it was somebody. I mean, listen to this.
Calvin Gastelum?
Listen to this
that was
streak.
a decision split.
Listen to this streak. Bristol Morunde, arm triangle, right? Derek Brunson, first round knockout. Ed Herman, first round Kimura. Chris Camozzi, first round triangle. Yushin Okami, first round knockout. Francis Carmont, won by decision. Gegard Mousasi guillotined him in the 3rd round. Chris Camozzi again armbars him. You get a title fight.
Yeah.
Then I think it was the Yoel fight. He lost a split decision. It was close though, right? Setback. Then he knocks out Vitor in the 1st round. Kimura's Tim Boetsch in the 1st round.
Was this TRT Vitor too? It was TRT Vitor.
It was. And get this. He gets the title fight off of that. Rockhold has to withdraw, right? He gets the title shot. Rockhold withdraws. He fights Tim Boetsch instead to stay active, right? Yeah. He Kimuras him in the 1st round, who also Tim Boetsch I was a massive fan of. Then you're like, okay, he fought to stay active. He got a win. Probably should fight for the belt again. No. You got to fight Robert Whitaker with a torn pec. Otherwise, he's jumping ahead of you in line. So he fights him. He gets knocked out. Never gets the title shot. And since then, it's a win, a loss, a win, a loss, a loss, a loss, a loss. Never even got the title fight.
That's rough.
Fucking rough, man. Fucking rough.
Yeah.
Just did him so dirty. Fought with a
Hey, man.
torn pec because they told him you're going to get passed up in line, even though he was scheduled to fight and the champ pulled out. Jacare didn't pull out. Jacare fought Tim Boetsch instead, beats him, still doesn't get the title fight.
Yeah, and it's tough because what do you do if you're Jacare? Do you say, well, no, I have a torn pec. I'm going to hold out and hope that later on down the road you decide to give me a title shot?
Yeah.
And again,
Hindsight.
the good old boys club. Good old boys club, though.
Yeah.
Because depending on who it is, hey, we'll wait.
Yeah.
This is going to be big pay-per-views. This is going to be this. It's going to be
For
that.
Jacare. Guy was fucking
know.
terrifying.
Probably because he's already 60 years old going into that.
I know. Yeah.
And they're like, what are we going to, like, if he wins the title, how long, like, how marketable is this guy? Like, again, I don't know. There's just so many things that come in that play into this, the politics behind it.
It sucks because in hindsight, say he were to beat Rockhold for the belt, that was as Whitaker was rising up. We could have gotten champion Jacare versus challenger Whitaker, both healthy. Could have been really fucking cool,
Could have been.
But it
Could have
didn't
been.
happen.
Instead, we're watching him get his limbs broken now.
And if this didn't happen, we never would have gotten Bisping knocking out Rockhold on short notice, which is one of the biggest, coolest moments in UFC history. So
True. Hey, but how about Andre Muniz comes in here and says, I can now grapple Jacare, and everybody's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
Yeah. I still think, what are you talking about?
He has a little more ground to stand on now, I'd say.
Definitely.
When he says that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right. Before that, we had Lando Vannata versus Mike Grundy. But dude, both these guys look huge for this division.
Worst judging I've ever seen.
On this one.
The worst judging I've ever seen.
This is what I was talking about where we talked about the Chookagian fight, and this was the second one, the last one that really capped it off for me. So 29-28 Vannata.
Wait, real
30,
quick.
20.
What did you score the fight?
For this one, I had 29-28 Vannata.
Same.
I had 29-28 Vannata. But so 29-28 Vannata, 30-27 Grundy, 30-27 Vannata.
In what world? and me saying 29-28 Vannata was conservative giving around to Grundy. I thought 30-27 Vannata is a very respectable scorecard.
Was it the second round, Grundy?
Second round. Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought he did enough to pull that round off. But dude, I just don't like who's judging the judges?
And dude, what criteria are they scoring with? I mean, we know what they're supposed to be scoring with. Also, a lot of people were talking shit about Chandler getting 2 judges gave him a 10-8 round for the first round of the championship fight. I wholeheartedly agree that was a 10-8 round. But this one, the first and third, how are you going to give that to Grundy? And I like Grundy.
These local fights I went to, Will, and I'm telling you, I had the pleasure to talk to that very nice lady that was a judge. Yeah. And there was a very close fight between a gentleman last name Pham, gentleman last name Torres. Very exciting fight. Torres kept on getting takedowns on Pham, but wasn't doing very much on top.
Yeah.
Right? And so when it went to the judges' scorecards, Torres ended up winning 29-28, 29-28. And somebody gave 30-27 to this Pham guy.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to the judge, and I said, hey, how did you score it, if you don't mind me asking? Because I scored it 29-28, and she said, I did the exact same thing. I gave the first and third round to Torres. Let me explain why. And one of the things that she explained is that she doesn't just take the takedowns into account. She has to take into account what they're doing after the takedown. And I was like, thank you. Yeah. This lady sounds like she knows what she's doing. She's been studying mixed martial arts for the longest time. She actually is a jiu-jitsu practitioner. She's a brown belt. Her family's in mixed martial arts. What this guy that scored 30-27 for Grundy, I want to know what this guy's been doing.
Patrick Patlan.
Of course, Patrick Patlan.
Never heard of him before.
Would you expect anything else from somebody named Patrick Patlan?
And you better believe anytime they talked about what judges are like for the title fight, when they announced the judges, Sal D'Amato, Chris Lee, somebody else that I didn't recognize, and I was like, "Fuck, was that the guy that judged the Grundy fight?" So I went back and like had to double check, make sure there wasn't some fucking kook judging the championship.
So Sal D'Amato
fight.
was on the other one.
Sal D'Amato was on the title fight.
Okay, Sal D'Amato.
Yeah, I don't know who this Patrick Catlyn is, but
look, outside of that, yes, the judging was absolutely awful. Grundy just did not throw enough combinations. He'd come in with one big shot and then back off.
Dude,
one big shot and then back off.
Dean Thomas said it perfectly in between rounds. That he said he looks like he's really good at striking and really good at wrestling, and he's separating the two of them. He's not blending it at all. You know, he's not using the shot, the punches to land the takedown. He's not using the threat of the takedown to land his punches. Like, he's very compartmentalized with the skills right now still. Because
hey, how awesome is that, by the way, that they're putting Dean Thomas there, they're putting Trevor Whitman there, they're having him speak between it. It gives you a different perspective from really just the announcers and the analysts. So I think that's fantastic and a fantastic addition.
Me too. I want to give a shout out to Lando Vannata though, dude. I said that if he can't finish Grundy in the first before Grundy can really wear on him with the wrestling, he probably ends up losing this fight because of cardio issues in the past. I think this is probably his weight class. This is his first time at featherweight.
You didn't expect him to get to, have such phenomenal takedown defense.
Dude,
17 out of 20 takedown attempts were stuffed. Yeah. 17 out of 20.
Against an Olympic wrestler. Like,
props to Vannata. But, dude, both of them look big for the division.
Yeah. But Vannata, man, crafty with the takedown defense. It wasn't just like sprawl, brawl, sprawl, brawl. It was like very creative escapes.
Yep. Very explosive. And it's not due to lack of trying from Grundy either, because even when Vannata was getting out, he's reaching for the ankle pick, reaching for anything he can get. And Vannata was just exploding out of there, man.
This fight
did looked exhausting.
Yeah, this fight did make me again want soccer kicks and knees to the head on the ground and stuff like that, because there's a couple times Grundy would sit on positions that you have no business sitting in a fight. If this is supposed to be a fight, you don't sit in those ankle pick positions for too long. But regardless,
just bleed.
Grundy's got a chin on him.
He does.
He ate some big knees shooting on those takedowns.
Yeah, it was a fun fight though.
I really liked it. I really liked this fight.
Before that, we had Wright versus Pickett.
Whoa. Everybody clowning on Jordan Wright. Now, hopefully, they realize everybody clowned on this dude, saying like, "Oh, like he's got a paper thin resume. He's fighting all these cans." Because when Buckley knocked him out, that was the narrative, right? Dude, if you say yes to everybody they put in front of you, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Your opponent's resumes, it's not on you. You do what you can in the opportunity that you're given. And I think skill-wise, the guy is very talented. People shit on him too because he's kind of like a rich kid, I think, and like came from like a.
I was gonna say he looks like he just walked off the lacrosse field straight into the octagon.
Yeah. But dude,
his name would be Chad.
He seems like a good dude, like a very respectful guy, like.
Yeah.
Dude, you see it, dude. There's a picture of him bowing. Oh my god, dude! After the fight, Pickett's just on the ground, like collecting himself, getting up. There's a pool of blood underneath him. The ref's like down by him, and he's just bowing to him. And it's such a cool picture, dude.
That's awesome. Those elbows were nasty, man.
Yeah, the Travis Brown elbows.
Because a lot of people do that, but to be able to generate enough power to take your opponent down with those elbows, and I'm not saying that Pickett was completely out, but he was done after that, man.
Well, he shoots in, he's landing the elbows on the side, and then you see Pickett drop to a knee and give up on the shot, and it was like, oh, like
he's hurt.
This is bad now. And then you see him muscle him over, couldn't quite get him over, but then he just excellent finishing from Wright. Just stayed on him, didn't give him any space. Nasty.
That was quick.
It was a whirlwind.
Good fight. Before that, we have Shevchenko versus Lee.
Yeah.
This reminded me of a time I want to go watch my friend at a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Mm-hmm.
and he landed a triangle, but he couldn't quite finish it.
Yeah, dude.
A gentleman by the name of Will Fredrickson. So, no, dude, and it looked like it was deep.
It is. She set it up. I think there was space along the thigh. I think she wasn't in here. She was here, or like higher up, just a little bit. And I thought the commentary was fucking awful in this fight. They're like, she's going to be done. The next round, her legs are going to be gassed. Dude, I've been there. I've gassed my legs from squeezing on triangles. She wasn't, she was turning the angles, trying to get tighter. I don't think she was really putting the squeeze down on. She had the lock, but she wasn't like squeezing. And they were like, she got to pull her head down. What is she doing? Bro, you don't think she knows that pulling the head down helps the triangle? You don't do it if you don't think you have the triangle yet. You're not going to do that.
She's
let me gas out my legs and my forearms for a choke that I don't think I'm going to get. Dude, excellent composure from Lee.
The one time I thought that she had it was when she was able to reach a bit under the thigh and move under and create a better angle. Because angles create strangles, right? So I figured, okay, here we go. And you could see Antonina's forehead start getting a little more red. So that's when I was like, okay, we're getting close. Dude, Antonina's just really tough. Really tough,
yeah,
too.
Stayed calm, Stayed super calm. Joe also fucked up. She had the triangle. The lock was on the left side, right? Her right leg was across the neck. Left leg was the top leg locked on, right? In that position, you want to look down her ear on your right leg side.
Right side.
Right? You want to hook that side, turn your body so that now you're cutting off. And at one point, she went the other way, and Joe was like, perfect. Yeah, she set up the angle. It's going to get tighter now. But it was the wrong side. She was just using it to stop her from stacking. It's like, Joe, you're supposed to know this shit, man. You're the jiu-jitsu guy. The reason you're here in the first place was to explain jiu-jitsu to people who don't know what they're watching.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Hey, he's human, okay?
Yeah, he's human, but bro, you're supposed to be an expert. I don't know. But what am I saying? You know what I mean? Joe would fuck me up in the ground, but he's like, he would get me in a triangle, turn that way just to show me that you can finish from that side.
And the best though, at the end, Lee's like, yeah, Antonina's really tough. She stayed really patient. She's like, I know how to finish a triangle choke.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she heard any of the commentary, but she had to point out, she's like, I know how to finish a triangle choke.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know what she said, but she pointed out the fact she knows how to do it.
Dude, it's easy to say sitting at home, oh yeah, it looks like it's fully locked in. Why isn't she pulling the head down? She knows. She can feel it. You know what I mean? She knows when to apply it, when not to. I saw people shitting on her fight IQ also for when she rocked her on the feet for taking her down after. Dude, if the game plan was, hey, Antonina's weaker on the ground than she is standing, let's get her there. If that's the game plan, she just got an easy ticket. She just got an easy opening to go to the ground and impose her game plan.
I was actually impressed with her fight IQ, though, because she didn't risk anything until it was about 15 seconds left, where she said, okay, I have time where I could try something. I could really try to go for the finish right now, because if it puts me in a compromised position afterwards and it doesn't work out, then Antonina doesn't have any time. Exactly. So her fight IQ in that sense, I was like, man, that's really good.
Dude, I was so impressed with everything she did in this fight. Everything. I can't think of any criticism for her. I thought it was a fantastic performance from her. It's crazy to me that these people are, first off, shitting on her for not pulling down on the head. Secondly, for taking her down after rocking her on the feet. Dude, if the game plan is to get her on the ground and do what she did, you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you take the easy route down there? It'd be bad fight IQ, in my opinion, if her corner and her team weren't fully confident in her stand-up in this fight, and if the game plan was to go to the ground and she ends up staying on the feet because she hurt her a little bit and then she ends up getting caught, that's bad fight IQ. Good fight IQ is implementing your game plan and imposing your will.
And finding your windows of opportunity.
Exactly. Yep. I thought it was fantastic.
Fantastic performance by Lee. Lee. Mazany versus Cachoeira.
Yeah.
Cachoeira. I gotta say it with a accent.
Cachoeira. But
Cachoeira.
this one, finally, James Krause is getting some recognition by like the commentary team. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, he has been, but mostly
They must have
like
heard our podcast.
Yeah, he has been getting the credit, but mostly on like the Vegas cards, you know, that are like in the Apex, where like not as high profile. So it was cool to kind of see him on a pay-per-view night, having Joe acknowledge him, being like, "Damn, like this guy's still like a good fighter, and he's like really coming into his own as a coach." And it's impressive, man. Mazany, up until that third round, or was it second? Yeah, up until that second round, full control.
Mazany, yeah. The one thing I saw was that Cachoeira had no respect for Mazany's power.
I mean,
no respect, because she just...
Did she need it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Because she had her right arm just cocked back the entire time, showing like, hey, I'm coming at you with my right power punch.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to come at you with. And if you hit me while I'm coming in, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you're going to catch me 5-10 times, but all I need is to catch you with this a few times.
Yeah.
And you're done. And just literally stalked her down.
Just chipped away.
Cocked.
Yeah.
Just chipped away, man. So Cachoeira's got some power. I don't see her like moving up the division crazy.
In that division, she might be a fight away from a title fight.
Well, that's true. That's true. That division is not very stacked, I guess. But
yeah.
Mazany got teed off on.
Yeah, you can tell she was exhausted from all the grappling, I think. She was exhausted from getting lit up on the feet to the point where she like couldn't even keep her hands up.
She looked at, so she gets clocked and teed off on a little bit. She turns her back towards Cachoeira, looks at Beltran.
Yeah.
And then Beltran's like,
Yeah.
But I remember you, like, as soon as I saw that, I thought about you and your comments around referees wanting to stop fights a little too soon.
When it's female
fighters.
Yeah.
Not Beltran.
Beltran says, hold my fucking chin braids.
He said, hold my equal opportunities.
Yeah.
And, dude, he, like, literally turns her back towards him, looks at him, and turns back around, keeps on getting teed off on, and I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh, no. Yeah. But, hey, Cachoeira, great job.
Yeah.
Way to make that translator earn his money, too. Yeah. Holy shit. Like, and I don't know if you noticed, but he puts his arm around the fighters, and when they start going a specific amount of time, he taps.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, pay attention to Alex. He's really good translator. Really good translator.
I heard
he'll put his arm around every fighter.
Speech, though.
Hey, Oliveira talks so fast, so probably even too fast for Alex.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he fucked up the line.
Cachoeira's going off, and he's like, dun, dun.
I didn't know that.
Like going off. Yeah. So pay attention next time. And Cachoeira gave two shits, kept on going, 5 minutes straight, talking in Portuguese, and then at the end he's like, "Yeah, she appreciates everybody."
Yeah.
Like what do you get? Poor guy.
Man,
poor guy.
He's been doing it forever, man.
Before that, Lutz versus Aguilar.
Yeah, man.
It's a good fight.
Good fight. Aguilar comes out to Marilyn Manson, and I was like, "All right, let's fucking do it." And then proceeded to just kind of get beat up in the first 2 rounds, at least.
Yeah, and then we see Lutz. It didn't look like Lutz was too tired to me. It looked like he was being overly cautious.
Yeah.
And
don't get caught.
Really wanted to cruise by that third round because he felt like he really had the first and second, which he did.
Yeah, Aguilar's got a very strange striking style. You know? The way he landed that step in left, it was just like, he doesn't turn over, right? It's just like, dah. Can't see it, but dah. Like, it's just like
the camera's gonna adjust right now to look at your fist.
Yeah, but it's sneaky. Like, it's a really sneaky left hand that he was really connecting with in that third round. He just didn't quite have like the power to create like a moment, you know?
Yeah. I noticed a little bit of the commentary bias on this one because they jumped on Lutz very early. Mm-hmm. They're talking about his timing, beautiful timing on the shots, beautiful timing on the level change, beautiful timing on that right, the left check hook.
Yeah.
And there was a few times where Aguilar would come in with like a blitz and land a heavy right, and then Lutz would counter with a not so heavy left, and he'd be like, beautiful counter.
Yeah.
And they don't even mention the fact that Aguilar just tagged this dude right in his face.
Dude, the problem that I'm really noticing with the commentary is, and like it sounds like I'm bitching about it super hard. It's really not that bad, right? But if I'm gonna nitpick, it seems like with Joe and DC, they have such a rapport with each other that Anik almost doesn't want to step over them and do the play-by-play. When the reality is, bro, you're missing plays, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you go back...
And Anik is really good.
Yeah. But if you go back, and people shit on Mike Goldberg a lot for a lot of the stuff that he would do, he wasn't, like, the most, like, consistently professional, right? He'd say some weird shit, and he'd fumble on his words, and you'd be like, come on, man. Like your uncle calling fights. But what he did do really, really well...
Hey, I love my uncle.
Dude, if if you're watching a lot of fights back then, if you were listening to them without watching them, you had a pretty good sense of what was happening with Goldberg's play-by-play. He really was like, and then the return, and then this, and like he was really good about like really just explaining what was happening, like beat by beat. And that's what they're there for. Color commentary is supposed to come in every once in a while, be a little anecdotal, react to things kind of a little bit more ridiculous, you know, but they're not supposed to be going off on these long tangents. Add some color to it. Yeah, they're not supposed to be going off on these long tangents where now a whole minute has gone by in this round that Anik hasn't even got a word in, that if you were watching the fight, all you hear about is how someone's, man, their level change is really good, and like, well, he's not doing well, and like, the fight's still happening. That's almost good for like in between rounds, you know? Like,
yeah.
I get it. No one's just listening to the fights. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think it's lacking in that department right now. Is Anik can't even get a word in when it's Joe and DC, and he needs to. He kind of takes the back step and lets them kind of do their thing. They're doing a podcast, you know. They're not. I don't know. It's
fight companion.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like it should be the official commentary. You know.
You know what? Take Anik out. Give me Eddie Bravo, Joe Rogan, and DC.
Yeah.
And I'd be ecstatic with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Brendan Fitzgerald.
Hey, in all seriousness,
Brendan Fitzgerald
Anik's the best in the
really
business. Fitzgerald's really good too.
I really
You know
like
what?
Fitzgerald.
And actually, the thing that I've noticed about Fitzgerald too is that he's not scared to call somebody out on their shit.
Yeah.
And be like, well, there's still a fight going on. And,
yeah,
you know, like he said that a couple times. He does that to Felder quite often because Felder can go off on little tangents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he brings him back in line.
Yeah, Fitzgerald, I think, is really, really good as a play-by-play commentator. Like, dude, he's very good. Shout out to Fitzgerald, you know?
Yeah.
That's the boy right there. He's got a podcast, too. I'm not sure what it's called. I haven't listened to it, but I've been wanting to. I see him promoted on Reddit and stuff. I think he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to check out the podcast, too, then.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Fitzgerald is really, really good. Anik's the best in the business, but... Man, I would like to see Fitzgerald tossed in to a pay-per-view event to see how he does.
Yeah, because I think Anik
he
is
would
almost sitting in the shadow of DC and Joe right now, you know? And I don't know if that's the right move, you know?
Yeah. Huh. Interesting take, Will.
You know, I'm just noticing these things.
All right. The fight before that, the fight that kicked it all off, Giagos versus Santos. Not to be confused with Thiago Santos.
You mean Soriano?
Oh, man, I put down Santos. Are you sure it wasn't Santos?
Sean Soriano?
Soriano.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yes.
But
Sean Soriano.
How about this? Soriano trains with...
Apparently, I was half asleep on this fight, too.
This is a great fight. Soriano and Chandler trained together. And and Chandler was like... shout out Landry Ward, but Chandler was like...
Shout out Landry Ward.
Before the fights, he was like, yeah, me and Soriano, he's the first fight of the night and the last fight of the night. We're going to start and end this card with a bang. And
oh, no.
They just both lose, man. Man, hard, man. But they did start and finish it with a bang. If that's... He didn't necessarily say that they're going to start and finish the night with wins. You know? They did start with a bang. Because Chandler... in my opinion, gets a 10-8 round against the current champ. Soriano, that first round, slick hands, hands, dude.
So fast. His hands are so fast.
And he found his range so quick, man. Giagos was in deep water in that first round. And dude, I had Soriano winning this fight, like going into it. I thought he was going to win this one.
There were some really nice transitions from Giagos. Some nice scrambles. And the way that he was able to set up that Dariush choke was awesome.
Yeah.
So props to Santos, though, for looking really good in the beginning. I'm just going to keep on calling him Santos since I already fucking ate shit on that one, huh? Really nice counters again. Really fast hands. He just got caught.
He got caught.
He got caught, and it happens. These things happen in MMA.
These things happen, and Giagos, fantastic job seizing the opportunity. Like you said, you have to recognize windows when they're there, and he jumped on it,
Yep, so Sean Santos, you'll be back, my friend, a.k.a. Sean Soriano.
Sean and, Santos Soriano.
Oh, dude, beautiful.
That's his nickname now, or what?
The nickname Santos? Like the most basic nickname.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, shit. Well,
Typology has nickname listed as not available. So there's room.
Now it is.
Yeah.
Now it's available.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I got, man, for this week. Did you have anything else?
Man, no. I just so happy for Oliveira, What a night.
Extremely
what a fight.
Happy. I know that next week we do have Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, what a fight. Ooh.
That's going to be a banger, man.
That's a fight.
Again, we talk about fights that won't disappoint.
Yeah, that's
Lock it in. Lock this one in.
Yeah,
This is
Hermanson
gonna
versus
be a banger.
Chookagian is the co-main. That got rescheduled. Interesting.
Yan Xiaonan.
Ooh, in my opinion, the number one contender fight, Yan Xiaonan versus Carla Esparza, winner of that, I think should be fighting Rose. Ben Rothwell's back. Yeah, good card.
Felicia Spencer.
Yancy Medeiros versus Damir Hadzovic. Woo.
We haven't seen Yancy Medeiros in a minute.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
Hey, by the way, if anybody doesn't follow Yancy Medeiros on social media, you're missing out.
He's so cool.
He has a hilarious Instagram page. I love following. He's when we talk about people that just seem like genuinely good people.
Yeah.
He's like one of those guys. I know I asked you, who would you want to party with if you had the opportunity to party with anybody in the UFC?
Yancy would be a good
For me, Yancy Medeiros would be up there, along with why can't I think of his name right now?
The Shui, Tai Tuivasa.
Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah.
You got Tai Tuivasa, Nate Diaz, Yancy Medeiros, probably Cowboy, Pickett, maybe.
Speaking of Diaz, did you see him and Tyson Fury training together?
Did I?
Awesome, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah, I watched right before I watched Santos fight.
Yeah.
Dude, it was fit. Yeah, I know. I think that's awesome, though.
Yeah. But Yancy Medeiros...
All the selfies they were taking together?
Yeah. There's just all kinds. Just a whole photo opportunity, bro. But it's cool because, they're both showing each other stuff with boxing. Nick's showing him stuff on the ground. Dude, Tyson Fury also trained with Darren Till for a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Tyson Fury ends up in an MMA fight.
Taking a step in?
Because if you think about his character, after he got the heavyweight belt the first time, he sank into a depression, and the reason that happened was because that was his mountain. That was the Mecca. Yeah. Once he got to it, he was like, "What's the point of my life now?" And he seems like he's one of those guys now. He comes back. He's like, "I'm gonna unify these motherfuckers." I'm the lineal heavyweight champ. So now that's the goal. Once that's the goal. Once that's accomplished, I wouldn't be surprised if he sets another high goal and it's a transition to MMA. I would not be surprised. Would he do well? I don't know. But
give me Tyson Fury versus Greg Hardy. Give me that fight right now.
Yeah, I'm sure Greg Hardy's ex wants to watch that too.
Give me a name of a fighter that'd be more perfect for Tyson Fury to come in and fight.
Yeah. I don't know. Stefan Struve.
You know what I mean, though?
But do not
this is somebody that's going to come in. No, but that's what I'm saying. You're gonna get Hardy in, give him somebody that's gonna throw a couple leg kicks, maybe. But other than that, it's gonna come in swinging all crazy. Maybe not the most technique, but just trying to get Fury out.
He'd get KO'd in the first.
Who, Hardy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Especially with that Kronk style.
Dude, baby steps for Fury. You know what I mean? Let's build him up, build his confidence up. But there we go, man. So good fights coming up next week. We had some good fights this week. A lot of fun talking about these fights. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything else, Mr. Will?
Nope.
All right, everybody. That's another week of Story of the Fight. Thanks for listening.